Hi guys. So everybody remembers where they were that day. You know the day. We were in our morning routines. We were going to school. We were going to work or getting ready to go to school or work. And it just seemed like a normal Tuesday morning. That's particular September 11th. At the time, I was a reporter for the Associated Press in Chicago. And hours after those towers fell, the AP decided that they wanted to have us document every single person who died that day. And I was part of the 4-person team that was tasked with this, where we documented every single person. And we were told that we were going to work 12-hour shifts until every last one was counted. So being a cub reporter, I worked the night shift, and I was in the middle of doing research on different people, and we started to hear about something bubbling up in a suburb called Bridgeview. At this time, it was pretty fresh. It was like September the 12th, and we knew that there was going to be anti-Muslim, anti-Arab backlash. We just didn't know where. Well, it turns out it had come to Chicago's southern suburbs. So the news was that we'd heard about a Molotov cocktail being tossed at a mosque, and we had no reporters available to go. So I was plucked from documenting the dead to covering the living. And I was paired up with a photographer, Mikey, and Mikey is fantastic. He is like your favorite uncle who drinks too much, and he's got this like pot belly supported by these like impossibly like thin stick legs. You love him, he's a teddy bear, and you wouldn't change anything about him. So Mikey comes up to me and says, we have to take separate cars, so when you get there, don't get out of your car. You wait for me. And this isn't like Mikey. I'm like, why? He fumbled for the words. He fumbled for the right words to tell a young African-American reporter that he was worried about her. Because here she was going into an area that was known to have racial tensions at a time when our country was still really raw with emotion. So I would wait and got in the car and packed up all my stuff, got in the car, and started to head down to Bridgeview. And I was thinking, I'd only been in Chicago for about 5 months, so I was like, Bridgeview, what is it that I've heard about Bridgeview? Because at this time, the neighborhoods in Chicago and all the suburbs in Chicago, it was just a patchwork of gibberish to me. And I was like, okay, Bridgeview, is that where those white kids beat up that black kid on a bike so bad that he was in a coma? Or was that Bridgeport? Was it some other kind of bridge? And as I'm thinking about this, all of a sudden, this huge fire engine red Ford F-150 truck comes zooming by, and it's got this massive American flag, flailing in the back, and it's the biggest American flag I've ever seen. It's bigger than the bed of the truck. And slightly smaller, and also on the back of the truck, was a Confederate flag. And I thought, because I know that the Confederate flag is supposed to be, a symbol of Southern culture. But for me, in my life experience, every time I've seen that flag or someone has whipped it out, it's been followed by something rude or mean, So I'm on guard. I was like, okay, let's just focus on getting to the mosque. Keep going. I'm about a block away from the mosque, and I see this crowd of people. They're just pulsating, and their hands are in the air. And I was like, okay, this is it. So I pull over, and I call Mike on the phone and tell him, hey, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. I just got his voicemail. So I'm sitting there for a little bit, and I can hear the crowd outside chanting, USA, USA, USA. And I was like, fuck it. My story is out there. It's not hiding in this car. So I gave one last Hail Mary, gave Mike a call. he didn't answer, so gathered my stuff and got out. And by the time I closed the door, the chant had changed from USA to down with Brown, down with Brown, down with Brown. I remember looking down at my brown arm. Shit. So I took my little notebook in front of me as if it was kind of like my shield, and walked up to this crowd as they just continued to chant, and I was terribly nervous. And as almost as if a dare to myself, I went up to, like, I spotted this guy who was in the middle of the crowd, and he was the tallest one and seeming like the loudest one, and just so much hate in his eyes and in his words. And as I'm walking past the Down with Browners, I noticed some of them were kind of quieting down, you know. And so walked up to this guy, and he was really tall, and I was just like, you know, hello, my name is Melanie, I'm with Associated Press. What are you doing out here tonight? I know, so lame. Edward R. Murrow totally rolling in his grave, right? So he says to me, he's like, they attacked our country and killed our people, and I want to spill Muslim blood. He's like, and so you're out here because I'm an American, and because I hate Arabs, and I always have. I got a few more hate-filled quotes, and by then the chant had changed back to USA, 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 and I just walked back to my car. When I got to my car, I was shaking, and it was because I had faced so much hate. And it was strange in that, you know, when I walked up to 19-year-old Colin Zareba, and he was talking about hate, and he wasn't mad at me. He didn't hate me. When they were screaming down with Brown, and he bent down to talk to this Brown reporter, it wasn't about me. And that was the first time a racist hadn't seen my color.